up, everybody? Welcome to the Went and Sold podcast. It's Danny Cho here with Bobby Choi in the house. Woo, 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 woo.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Bam, bam, bam. Today, we have a special guest because I know you are sick and tired of just me and Bobby's melodic voices. We decided to bring some fun into the studio today. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a special guest. He is a good friend of ours. He's a writer. He's a stand-up comedian all the way from Orange County, California. Ladies and gentlemen, Walter Hong.
Yeah. Hey,
Hello.
Walter.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, Walter. What's up, buddy?
Nothing much, man. Everything's fantastic. I'm a little sweaty because no one told me that there was a bus that comes directly here.
So you walked from the train station. It was only like 700 meters, man.
But it's all uphill.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
It's all uphill, and I try to maintain the same pace uphill as I do on flat surfaces.
Oh, first of all, no.
Okay.
So Walter, before we get into your weird walking habits,
Yes.
how about you introduce yourself to the audience?
So my name is Walter Hong. My introduction doesn't sound as fancy as Danny's. Thank you for that. That sounds very fantastic. I like that guy that you described. I'm just a comic. That's about it. I wish I could make myself sound more appealing and awesome, but I'd be lying. So I think that's just about it.
But you're also the first Asian American stand-up comic, right? Is that true?
No.
Or you're just the oldest?
Oh, yeah, no. Well, I don't know. Your mom likes to say that I'm the first one, but
no, here we go.
I like to tell her that, no, I don't think I'm the first one. I think Johnny Yoon was the first one.
Johnny Yoon?
Yeah,
Johnny Yoon,
From
yes.
They Call Me Bruce. They
Yes.
still call me Bruce.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I believe he was the first Korean or Asian American stand-up comedian.
Okay.
He performed on Johnny Carson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's before Pat Morita. I think he may have performed before Pat Morita.
Did Pat Morita do
right.
stand-up?
I believe he did, yeah.
Mr. Miyagi.
Yes.
Yeah.
Johnny Yoon, he passed away recently.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so rest in peace, Johnny Yoon. To me, he is the first Korean American stand-up comic.
Yes.
Then, after a big lull of nobodies, there was Margaret and Henry Cho.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And then came people like Bobby Lee, and then like the half Asians like Steve Byrne.
Yeah.
Well, Danny, you've been doing stand-up for just about 20 years or over 20 years, right?
A little under. It's
Little under?
I'm on year number 18.
18.
Yeah.
And so what about you, Walter? It's been longer than that, right?
Well, this stint, the first time I did stand-up, it was longer because it was like in 96, but I only did it twice. And then the second stint I did for a year and a half, probably like a year or two after. And then this is my longest one. I think it's around 14 or 15 years.
Oh, okay.
I think. But then as a professional, 6 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the first 10 years,
So Danny is
I didn't
your
write much.
Sunbae? Is it your...
I mean, how do you define professional comic?
Well, professional as in I started writing more, and then I sought out money.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, I feel like professional is when you start getting paid for your stand-up, right?
So I was seeking money as opposed to just doing it for free,
Right.
And then I was writing more. So the first 8 to 10 years, I only had maybe 15 to 25 minutes of material.
Wow.
I didn't write
Yeah.
because my goal was to perform once a month.
Yeah,
I didn't really care. But then once I became, I told myself, hey, let's just do this professionally. I started writing a lot more, and then I was looking for paid gigs.
Right.
And
right.
I thought, you know what? There's times I'll work for free, but most of the time I don't.
So the first time I met Walter, Bobby, is actually around Halloween, around this time.
How many years ago?
About 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was doing a show at the world famous Cafe Blue in Koreatown, Los Angeles.
Okay.
Right? And it was Halloween, so he was in costume. Matter of fact, all the other comics were not in costume except Walter, who was dressed like Mr. T.
With a full mohawk.
With the mohawk included.
Do you dress up every year for Halloween?
I used to.
Uh-huh.
But now like your mom and I talked about it, and we thought like, we're too old to dress up. But I like dressing up though.
Yeah,
it's fun.
I mean, once you hit 50, you gotta like.
Yeah, you gotta slow down. I went, 1 year I used to have long
let
hair.
the kids have some fun too.
That's true.
Yeah.
And then lingerie doesn't look as good on me as it did before. But like, when my hair was long, I went as Wendy 1 year, like from Wendy's hamburgers.
Redhead.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Red
I
hair.
sprayed my hair red and like did the pigtails.
In Korea, do they have Wendy's in Korea? They don't have Wendy's currently in Korea.
I don't
but
think so.
They maybe at one point. So we have to let our listeners know that what Wendy's is.
Wendy's is a fast food establishment. They sell hamburgers,
square in the square shape,
square-shaped patties.
Yeah.
almost like the Blue Castle, White Castle.
White Castle. Yeah.
I think they had Wendy's in Korea at one point.
Really?
I'm gonna say they did. But it didn't go over so well.
But right now, my brain picturing Walter in red hair with tied, on the sides. What are they called? Pigtails.
Pigtails. Yes.
Was it a wig or
no,
was it a?
Because I had long hair at the time. I had like shoulder length hair.
You dyed your hair red.
I didn't dye it. I spray painted it red.
You spray painted
Yeah.
it. Okay.
And
That's commitment.
yeah, no, like I think Halloween's fun. It was frightening. Like after I did it, I was like, dude, this is bad. It's like
Wendy's
this is a bad
should have
idea.
sued you
It
for that.
sounds bad.
Yeah, like after I like spray painted my hair and then I tied the pigtails, and I go, dude, this is a horrible idea. And I was like, but at that point, it was too late. Like I had to leave, and so that wasn't a bright costume.
So when did you say, you know what, it's enough, no more costumes? Was it an age thing?
No, this is going to sound perverted and creepy, probably because it is creepy and perverted. But I kind of stopped going out to Halloween when the trend of girls like being generous with the revelation of their bodies started. When that started declining, I think I stopped going out. So like, because there was a time when girls would just wear lingerie, and if it was a green color, they're like, I'm a sexy nurse.
Right.
And then like if it was white, I'm a sexy doctor.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And like, so they would just, whatever excuse to wear lingerie, they would just go out and do it. And like, I remember seeing one girl in black lingerie with like a sheer robe, and she had fangs, vampire fangs, and she was a vampiress. And I thought, I don't even know what you're talking about right now because I was too busy. But then like now in the States, the trend of that has like, it's declining. So there's no more like slutty this or sexy that. It's just, people are just dressing up. So then I thought, oh, well, what's the point?
Okay. Danny, do you dress up for Halloween?
The one time I dressed up in my adult life was I was Kim Jong-un.
Oh, so you could do that every year, basically. Just put on a...
but that dude has more hair than me, and
he's more portly than you.
And he's bigger than me now. Back then, I was around the same kind of build, but
you both have gout.
We both have gout,
right?
So yeah, but in the beginning, when I first did it, it was about maybe 8 years ago when I did it. Mm-hmm. People were like, "That's funny,"
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like because I look. Actually, I didn't dress up as Kim Jong.
It was his dad.
It was Kim Jong Il who I dressed up.
Right,
as.
that's right.
Right, and people were like, "Oh wow, that's great," and your costume is good when people take pictures of you, not with you, right? And so I was like, yeah, but I don't want to do that over and over again. To me, I realize how, have a different costume every year was a little bit of a pain, because and it happened. When I was 4, it was my first Halloween, right? Like outside, with going to school and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So I told my mom, "Oma, I need to get a costume. It's Halloween." My mom's like, "All right, whatever." They go to the costume store, and I became a pirate, right? So I got the little sword, plastic sword. They gave me the eye patch. They drew the mustache on me, all that, right? And I was like, yay, and I trick-or-treated or whatever in East LA in the hood, which is crazy, right? And so, the next year, I was like, oh, Mom, I got to go dress up again. And I don't want to be a pirate anymore because I was that last year. So she put me in a hanbok and was like, we're done.
Well, my mom put me in just a rice bag, like a used rice bag. She just poked a hole at the bottom, and I wore it upside down.
So what were you supposed to be, though?
A bag of rice.
Is this supposed to be representative of your size?
No,
the papur.
like when I was that age, you know, those big bags of rice. Like, yeah, they didn't go as far as getting me a pirate outfit.
They weren't committed.
All right.
And then every other year I would have my, taekwondo suit.
Oh.
So I would just wear that, and
So you were a taekwondo boy for like 5 years, pretty much?
Yeah, I was karate kid every year.
Oh wow.
You know?
Yeah, I didn't do that. I was hanbok boy, or my mom was. I was, Mom, what am I supposed to be? He's like, you are Korean boy. And I was like, all right.
Let's get to Walter. What are you doing in Korea, man? Like, I don't understand why you keep coming back.
Well, because like someone keeps telling me it's really fun here. I'm not going to say it's your mom, but
no. By the way, before this podcast ends, I want to see how many your mom references Walter has.
I'm going to get them all out today. Well, I'm here because we're doing a show. Danny, PK, and me. We're doing Kings of K-Town.
Yeah.
In Itaewon. I don't know if this airs.
PK is another comic.
Yeah.
Another comedian
from LA.
Yeah. Well, this will air after
the show.
After the show.
Mm-hmm. So I came here to do a show with Danny, PK, called Kings of K-Town. And the thing I'm most excited about was doing stand-up in Korean for the first time.
Right.
Yes.
That's what I was really excited about.
Yes. And we were present for that.
Yes. The debacle. Yeah. It was a lot harder than I thought.
It was hard to watch, too.
I imagine. But it's nice, though, because now you know how I feel when I watch you perform sing. I mean, because you're no Sam Smith or Ed Sheeran.
I don't know those references.
I know. You're no Lil Wayne.
So Walter, let's get back to your. You performed twice in Korean.
Yes.
On last Friday and Saturday, right? And so, what was your thoughts before going into it? Like, I want to know your brain because I mean, I maybe about 8 months ago was in the same position as you in terms of what I was feeling going up for the first time doing stand up in Korean.
Yeah. Well, the language a lot better than I do.
Yes,
the Korean language. So for me, I went in thinking like, okay, I know it's going to be difficult to translate stuff. And I was afraid that, because I do a lot of crowd work, and I was afraid that the crowd work, they wouldn't respond. Like, they wouldn't answer any questions.
Right.
So I was like, you know what, I'm going to stick to material. I'm going to do some material that I'll just translate. And so, I mean, as a comic, and you probably know as a singer, like, when you're performing, when the crowd's with you.
Yeah.
Like, you just know. It flows. And for us, it's laughter. For you, it's probably energy or whatnot. So when they're not laughing at certain spots, I start thinking, okay, this isn't working. And with English, I know where to go.
Right.
Like, because I know the language. But with Korean, if I go off track, I don't know where to go because I don't know the words.
So wait, you didn't like before you went up on stage in Korean, you didn't like in your head do a translation exercise before, or did you do it while you were on stage?
For my bits, I did. But if it wasn't working,
right, I
was like, okay, I don't know where to go. And then I would get flustered. And I haven't felt like this way probably like for 10 years. Where I'm like, where do I go? Like, what do I do? It's like when you start out as a comic, you have 10 minutes of material, and then your second joke doesn't work, and then you're like, okay, I have to be here for 10 minutes, but like I'm done. Like, I have nothing else.
I thought it was funny though. I was watching the Korean people watch you as well, and it seemed like they were getting it. They were into it.
Well, I think it was set up where there was like, all right, because I performed as well after Walter. Because I knew that Walter was going to bomb, so I had to clean up that mess afterwards. Right? But the idea was, hey, these guys have been doing stand-up in English for almost 20 years, right? And so, like, you're in for a treat because you're getting, like the OG professional thing. But unfortunately, we're doing it in Korean, so it's not going to be as well versed and fluid as we are in English, right? So I think they were kind of more like, as an almost like a novelty, like, oh, like we're getting this and this is his first time. Like no one's ever going to experience this. And then Walter's struggling with the Korean language. I mean, I laughed a lot, but it wasn't because you were hilarious.
No, I know,
because
because that's a different kind of laughter. Because I think if anyone knows different laughter, it's us. Because we hear so many different kinds. I know when it's laughing at me. And what's funny is that I think at one point, the punchline didn't hit at all.
Yeah.
And all I hear is like you guys laughing. You know?
No, but we were laughing at the fact that the joke didn't work.
Yeah. And so like I could, and I knew why you guys were laughing, and I was just like, man, this is. Then I think I even said at that point, this is a lot harder than like I had imagined. And then then that night you told me, like Danny, you told me like, hey, when you go up on Saturday, you should just have like a beer too.
Yeah.
Because I'm very heady, like I overthink things.
Yeah.
And then so that helped a lot. So the language is a lot easier for me. And then I also did way more crowd work.
The beer helped a lot?
Yeah. Like I had two.
When you're doing stand-up back home, you don't drink
I don't drink
at
at all. Yeah, okay. I don't drink at all. But like here, on Saturday when I did drink, like that helped a lot. Like just the language for the language portion. And then going in, just doing crowd work, that helped a lot too, because I think I was able to set up some kind of rapport.
Right.
And then I was going to stick to mostly crowd work, but then I was like, I want to try this one joke and just to see how it goes. And I wasn't totally confident that it was going to work because of the wording. Because I don't know all the words in Korean, obviously, or I don't know any words. And so it didn't work. It didn't work as well. But then when I got off stage, I felt way more comfortable and better about it. And also knowing that I can just go in and do crowd work. Because I think a lot of the Korean comics don't do crowd work.
Yeah, it's not a thing. Like so in Korean like comedy performances, like all live performances, there is a concept called 바람잡이, right? Which is kind of like
grabbing the wind.
Yes, they're grabbing the wind. But what it is basically they are like the like when you go on live studio audience like in the States. There's the dude that the person that
warms up the crowd.
Warms up the crowd. So that's what a 바람잡이 is. So they warm up the crowd and they give like gifts and things like that. Like like all right, who traveled the farthest distance to come to the show, and then whatever. And so there's a little bit of that, and there's humor, and it's not full blown crowd work, but they do dive into the audience.
Yeah.
But aside from that, you don't see people really dive into the audience and do crowd work as a performance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So what you were doing when you were doing crowd work was something that is still a little bit foreign to the Korean audience.
Yeah.
Right?
It felt that way. It felt foreign. But they do answer, though. They don't answer like, I think it's more like yes or no questions. They'll answer. They'll readily answer that. I ask people like if they're dating.
Right.
And they'll say yes or no. And then I asked them, like, how long you've been dating? If you've been dating. Like, there was two guys that were there, and I was like, are you guys dating? And they're like, we're like, oh, no. Like, we're not dating, And I'm like, hey, it's 2018. I'm not going to judge if you're a NJN. 남자 좋아하는 남자. That's okay, And then they're like, no. 그냥 친구. And then so I was like, well, how long you been friends? And they're like, today's 10 years. And then I was like, as a man, why do you know that? Like, why do you know that today it's 10 years? And so, like, I think the crowd, like, because it's new, it's novel for them.
Right.
So I felt more comfortable.
Right.
More confident to go into, like, the material. But then that kind of, like, I didn't feel, after I did, like, a bit, I was like,
It's very brave of you, though, to do something completely outside of what you're used to.
So, but
it is different,
But I'm curious, because I'm sure your Korean speaking abilities is not up to par, right?
Yeah.
So what made you go, I want to do this?
For me, like, okay, so I spent time in the Philippines, I think last year. And the way they do stand-up in the Philippines, because stand-up is still relatively new in the Philippines as well, they do pretty much 50-50, 50% English, 50% Tagalog.
Okay.
So they might do a whole setup in English, and then the punchline will be in Tagalog. So, like, I have no idea what the punchline is, but everyone's laughing. And then, or they'll reverse it and do the setup in Tagalog, and the punchline will be in English. And I was so jealous that they were able to do stand-up bilingually, and the whole crowd gets it.
Yeah.
I go, that's fun.
Yeah.
Like, that's just really fun. And so it kind of it opens them up to audiences because they can perform in all English, so they can do shows where it's all English speaking, and then when they go back to the Philippines, they can do shows all over Philippines doing both Tagalog and English. And I thought that's amazing that. And then when you started doing it, Danny, I was like, that's awesome because now you just kind of not like double your audience per se, but you're tapping into a market where there's just no one here to do it.
Right.
And that language, being able to kind of overcome the language barrier, to me was interesting. And also, we're Korean.
That's interesting. That you bring up a good point about doing stand up possibly in Konglish, right?
Yeah.
So Korean and English. But
Yeah.
you didn't really do that.
No, because I watch a lot of Korean dramas. I don't cry, but I watch a lot of Korean dramas, and they do a lot of words where it sounds like they don't have a word for it in Korean. Like I was watching Man on a Mission. What's that called in Korean, by the way?
아는 형님.
Yeah, 아는 형님.
Yeah.
And they would say like 팩트야, 팩트. So I'm like, what is 팩트? I'm like, is he saying fact?
Yeah.
So then I was
Yeah.
like, wait, there has to be a Korean word for fact. So then that alerted me to the for lack of a better word, the fact that they use English words just to use English words.
Oh,
And so
is there no word for fact in Korean?
I think there is.
Yeah.
I'm sure there is.
But they'll just use it.
They're just saying it
So
just to
use
kind of
팩트.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then so I thought, okay, well, because they're doing that, I don't know if I did Konglish, I don't know what words in English they know or don't know. And so I was like, rather than doing a joke where I'm not confident they're gonna know what the word is, I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna kind of put my eggs in the limited Korean basket.
Okay.
Rather than
because in my mind, I'm thinking if you were gonna do like a Konglish jokes, it'd be like, yo, so I was walking down the 길거리, right, and then I saw this 여자 and she was mad ipo, right, like you know what I mean, like I thought that's what I would assume, like a Konglish bit with like a setup would be,
Yeah.
right, but. I don't know. I mean, that might work in English.
It might. And the other thing is because you guys live here, you kind of know what English words people
That's
know.
true.
I
Yeah.
don't know that. Like I don't know what they know or don't know. And then so with comedy, like as you know, Daniel, like when you do unless your style is kind of like very deferential and you like it's kind of more like lack of confidence, unless your style is that way. When you do your joke and then if your punchline, like you don't have confidence in it, the audience doesn't have confidence to laugh.
Right.
And so if I don't think that they understand, I know when I do the setup and punch, it's not going to come out. It's not going to go over well.
I mean, I think that is not even a U.S. thing. I think in terms of an audience, they can tell, they can smell the confidence or lack of confidence in your material, right? And so the audience, in my mind, that would definitely give it to you and matter of fact, boo you off the stage are like the what we call the urban rooms, right? Or for lack of better words, we call them the black rooms, right?
Yeah.
And so Walter, when he first started, like he sounded like he was from the hood, you know what I mean? And so and like his accent and things like that. So I was like, when I first met him, I was like, is this fool from a bad neighborhood? Like that's what I was thinking, right? And so I ask you, Walter, did you get? I mean, especially in this day and age, where people use phrases like cultural appropriation. Have you gotten flack for, say, your accent or say your material because of
I haven't, and I think part of it is because I started in the black rooms like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And so it's not like I started today, where I think it's a lot more sensitive today.
Yeah.
But I also don't think I get flack for it because, not to toot my own horn, but I do well in the black rooms. I'm not, it's not like I get like laughs for some jokes and not others. Like I get a lot of laughs, and so I think they don't care.
Yeah.
Because I bring it, in the black rooms, and I'm being Korean, it's just a different dynamic. And also, I think another part is that I don't sound like I'm faking it.
Okay. Yeah.
I think some people go up and like that's not how you really speak. Like no one questions, like how do you speak? Like why do you speak like this? I've had no one question it. So I think the authenticity of it lends itself to like not kind of receiving flack for it. Because I hear some comics of various ethnicities go up. and it's like that does not sound real.
Well, I mean, I know a comedian, female comedian, who speaks perfect English, but her act is she sounds like she's like a Korean mom. I'm not gonna name the name, but she's like, "Oh, why did the chicken cross the road?" Like
she does that on purpose.
Yes,
So, like,
and that's to me like that's no bueno.
Yeah,
right? That's boo. Right.
I feel like I know who you're talking about, and if it's the same person, her accent's horrible.
Yeah.
Like, but if to me, if it was an authentic accent, then and also if it's the same person, the joke for her joke is her accent.
Yes.
Like, I think that's where the attention is in the wrong place. It's misplaced.
Right.
But if she's going to use the accent and like in a smart way, like Joe Wong.
Yeah.
Like, let's say Joe Wong, you find out spoke perfect English.
Right.
You know? But it wouldn't matter because his joke isn't his accent.
Yeah.
You know?
It's the actual material.
Yeah. And so, but I think authenticity lends itself to, because like no one, I don't believe, and if they do, I've never heard it, but I don't believe anyone in the audience is like,
well,
like, hey, is it fake?
Aquafina got some flack for having that urban accent in Crazy Rich Asians,
right?
But she's from Queens,
right.
I hear people talk like that. Yeah, I'm from
like
New York too. Like, it sounded normal to me when she's speaking.
Wait, time out. You're from New York. How come you don't have a full blown New York accent? I mean, I catch it here and there. You know what I mean?
I've kind of weaned off of it. It was very like deliberate. I got rid of it when I was in college.
So you're misappropriating white people.
Yeah,
by speaking this way. That's horrible, Bobby.
Yeah. I don't know. I just don't. I like not standing out. I guess so. Like,
Walt, you said your first time you tried it was in 1996.
Yeah.
Like, what made you try stand-up comedy?
So I think my second to last semester in college, I took a comedy writing class from the late great Stanley Ralph Ross, who created Electric Company, wrote like every other beach blanket bingo movie.
Oh, I thought you said Electric Company as in like his homies with Thomas Edison.
Oh no, yeah, Electric Company. Like, remember as a kid?
I remember Electric Company. Yeah,
and like Spider-Man would come out. Like, yeah, he created that show. He wrote for Norman Lear, All in the Family. So it was comedy writing, but he like touched on all different kinds of comedy writing, like TV scripts, feature scripts, like plays. He just touched on everything. And one of the things was stand up. And so one of the exercises was we had to do stand up in class. And he told me, he's like, you should totally go do stand up. At the time I wanted to be an actor. And I didn't really have a desire to do stand up. But I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go try it and see. Because in class, it's so supportive and you know everyone. Right. It's not the same. So at the time, Laugh Factory, you had to get there at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
And you had to sign up on a piece of paper.
The open mic night on Tuesdays,
Open
right?
mic on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And it was an unofficial sign-up sheet, meaning that if you leave, someone could cross your name out and put their name in.
Oh, really?
So you had to stay there.
No way.
And like people brought chairs, like lawn chairs. I had no idea.
It was like a Black Friday sale to try to get into this.
Really?
It was crazy.
That's interesting.
So from 7 a.m, you wait. And I just sat on concrete for like all that time. Fortunately for us, they dismissed us at 3 p.m. because it started raining and they felt bad. So then they took the list down. So I had nowhere to go. I live in Orange County, so I just went across the street to the Virgin Megastore. At the time, there was a Virgin Megastore. Just walked around, saw a movie, and of course, the movie theater across the street isn't like a mainstream movie theater, so they only play like these art house movies.
Right.
I saw Albino Alligator. I still remember it till this day. Matt Dillon was starring in it. Faye Dunaway. Like whatever. This movie it had like 2 sets. It was like horrible. So
the 60s.
So I go back. And I do my set, I'm tired. I'm just tired. And I one of my jokes, I did the punchline first, and then did the setup as the punchline. And I didn't even realize it until I was doing the what I thought was the punchline. And then in the end, Jamie Masada, the owner, he critiques you, and he goes, "You're going to be a star in 2 years." And I thought, 2 years?
Oh, really?
Yeah, this is ridiculous, 2 years. And I'm cynical. I'm thinking, you probably tell this to everybody. And plus, I ain't got 2 years. Like, I want to be an actor. I don't want to do this. And then I went to Comedy Store the next week, and I got the 8th spot. I got lucky because they draw names allegedly. Did well. This guy comes up to me and goes, "Hey, dude, you did a good job, but the manager's not here today, so come back next week." So I said, "Cool." I go back next week, and then they're like, while they're drawing the names, this comic goes, yeah, dude, if you do well, they put you in the end because they remember you because they want their friends to get the better spots. So I was like, I mean, they're not going to remember me, you know? I got the 2 a.m. spot.
Ooh.
And I was like, you know what? I don't even want to be a stand-up. I bounced.
Yeah.
And then I didn't do it anymore.
That was end of the first stint.
Yeah, because I never wanted to, you know, I never really wanted to do it. But it was like a personal thing. Like, I just wanted to see if I could try it and do it. And then the second stint, Ice House was having open auditions.
Okay.
So I went there.
But not the Uncle Clyde's comedy contest or whatever?
That wasn't around
Okay.
back then.
Okay.
And then I was getting booked there for like a year and a half. And that's what kind of... And then I stopped it after the year and a half because I stopped getting booked. And then I was just bored. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to just do this as a hobby. Like, I don't care about becoming a professional or anything. And then I did the Urban Comedy Club, which is... the name is escaping me.
Comedy Union?
Comedy Union.
Yes.
They had a bringer show.
I
did 2 of those, met one of the bookers. She introduced me to Pookie, who runs Chocolate Sundays. Did their open mic, which at the time the wait list was 5 months, which sounds like an eternity.
Right.
Now I heard it's like a year and a half. That's what I heard.
What?
Yeah. So
Really?
I waited 5 months, got a spot. He goes, I'll have you back. Did 2 spots there, and I made a regular. And then from there, I got made a Laugh Factory regular, which sounds like a big deal, but Danny, as you and I know, that means nothing.
It means absolutely nothing. Because
To me, it sounds like that's a big deal.
Because
yeah.
I became a regular. I didn't go through the open mic way. I got in because of PK, who we're gonna do the show with.
Yeah.
Like PK, he was hosting a weekly show at the Laugh Factory, right?
It was Asia night or
It was,
something?
yeah,
Asian night?
I mean, there's always something like Asian invasion or crazy Asians or something, right? Like, which I'm kind of against, but anyway.
Is that where Ken used to do stand-up as well? Ken Jung?
Ken used to do stand-up at the factory, but
Bobby
I
Lee.
actually met Ken at like doing stand-up at a bar, like at the Saddle Ranch or whatever.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you know, back in Sunset, right? But so PK, he saw me perform at a Korean Student Association banquet.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
And then I was in college still. So he was like, hey, man, like, I'm going to get you spots at the Laugh Factory. And I was like, okay, cool. So I kept on doing it. And, you know, Jamie, saw me. And so I got regular spots there.
Yeah.
And that's how I became a regular, because at first I was just doing the Asian nights. But then I did like Latino night when Jamie found out that I'm from East LA, so I did the Latino night. I'm against these theme nights a lot of the times, you know, like Latino night, like Black night, Asian night, or Jew night. Now there's like gay night. You know what I mean? Like, why don't we just have this everybody night always?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but that's how I got started in terms of being a regular there. But before that, like, I was doing, like one-off gigs at the Comedy Union, the Ice House, and all the other comedy clubs in LA.
Do all the Asian comics in LA, at least, or just in general in the US, do they all know each other? Like Margaret Cho, Bobby Lee, Ken Jeong, the ones that matter?
Well, the ones that matter know each other because they're on each other's shows.
I mean, do they know you? Like, everyone is aware of each other? Like, even the ones that...
I don't know about Margaret. Margaret,
Okay.
I'm not sure about.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, she follows me on Twitter, but I think it's her social media person that did
just
it.
following,
Yeah.
like, okay.
I don't think Margaret. I mean, although Margaret and I share an accountant, we're the same accountant.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, but that's about as close to Margaret as I can tangibly say that we're close. I don't think she knows who I am, but like Ken. Well, I mean, Ken knows you guys because you guys work together, and Danny's met him. I met him later.
I also ask because, now that stand-up in Korea is becoming a thing, and Danny's like in the middle of it. He's here doing it. You've seen him do it, right?
Yeah.
And I wonder if there's an opening for like Korean American comics to come out here, or even be booked out here. I know it takes a lot. You got to fly people out long ways.
Like Danny would probably know way better.
I personally believe that there's still a disconnect in this country in terms of English versus Korean, right? And so Konglish is really hard to pull off, I think.
Okay.
First of all, I think the Korean audience needs to understand what stand-up is, you know what I mean? And I think they don't still, right?
But I started to notice though, they're like, what's his name's coming? Jim Jeffries is coming to Korea.
Yeah, Jim Gaffigan's coming, but
Gaffigan is coming too, and also what's his name? Hannibal Buress was here, right?
Yeah.
You opened for him, right?
Yeah, but that's for the English speaking crowd.
Okay,
right? The Koreans are not going to come. I mean, even if they see him as on Netflix or whatever, and be like, "Yo, I'm a fan of Jim Jeffries or Jim Gaffigan or whoever." They can't. They can pay money and see the show, but they're not going to be like, "I don't know what he's saying." You know what I mean?
I've been here almost 8 years, like 7-8 years, and I'm only noticing this now. You know, like this is to have like these comics come within the last year. Before last year, I never heard of these comics coming to Korea to do stand up. So I feel like maybe we're seeing the beginning of things happen.
Absolutely.
I'd love to see Margaret Cho out here, or Bobby Lee, or I'd love to see Walter come out and do a funny set, if that's possible.
So Walter, I mean, this is a little bit of a weird segue to your bombing in Korean. What is? Do you have a memorable like worst gig?
Oh, okay. It was my second stint. My set was comprised of me pretending that I was like a Chinese guy. Like, so I had a stereotypical Chinese accent, and I was operating a wonton store. Oof. And then I would play every character that came in. It's like a black guy came in, a Jewish guy, Latino guy, like a Southern guy. And then my act was the exchange, between the two characters. And then at the end, my real self would come out, and I would, like that I'm from the Bronx, but like I'm just faking the accent because who's gonna buy Chinese food from a Korean kid that grew up in the Bronx? Like nobody.
Right.
So in America, it translated.
Right.
There was one night I was booked. Yeah. Actually, I have a tape somewhere. It actually worked really well, like for American people, because one thing is we don't see it because we're not like white America. But white Americans love listening to accents.
Yes.
They love it.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. And the thing is I know Asians get really self-conscious about it, like they're laughing at us, which they are. But if you do Australian, like British, Scottish, whatever, they love the accent.
Yeah, look at Russell Peters, man. He's killing it with accents.
They love it. And so like they loved that I was doing all the accents and I was doing it myself. One night I got booked at stage 2 in the smaller room. 80% of the crowd was from England. They just did not get it.
Okay.
They just did not understand anything. And so when I was like younger as a comic, if no one laughed, I would just speed through. And so if something takes like 1 minute to say, I would do it in 10 seconds because no one's laughing. And I didn't know where to go.
Right.
Like now if no one laughs, I'm like, okay, we're gonna go somewhere else.
Right.
But back then, that's all the material I had. And so I think I was supposed to be on stage for like 15 minutes. I finished in like 5 or 6. I just sped through everything. I was like, that's my time. They left at nothing. Like nothing I did resonated. And that was probably like the one where I was just like, I just got through and I got off stage. And
everyone, you kind of have to go through that though. It's probably... it went on early on. That was your second.
Yeah, I mean, it was early. The thing was, one would think, oh, you probably learned from that.
Yeah.
The only thing I learned is don't ever perform in front of British people. Like, I didn't internalize it and say like, oh, okay, you should fix your material and do this or whatever. I externalized it and said, these British people don't get me, so that's it.
Yeah, and by the way, you didn't bomb when I saw you last Friday here. I don't know. Yeah, I don't want to give our listeners the impression that you bombed.
I just like saying it because like for the listeners amongst comedians and especially if we're friends, we like seeing our friends bomb.
Yeah,
it's hilarious.
Yeah,
it's actually I like it more. I mean, Bobby, you're not a comic, but you like it when I don't do well.
Oh yeah, I think it's hilarious.
It's funny, yeah. I mean, for the listening audience, just to clarify, like the story I just told at the Ice House, that was like because you said the way you phrased the question, the worst. That was my only worst performance. I've never bombed, so So that's why I think I was more flustered on Friday. It was just weird. Why is no one laughing? I don't understand.
No, you know, for me, Walter, you were involved in my worst gig ever. So
The New York.
no.
There was a worse one.
There was a worse one. Wow. There was a gig where, so that whole day for me was like community service day, right? So in the afternoon, I get booked. In the afternoon, I get booked to a drug rehabilitation banquet, right? So in my mind, drug rehabilitation, I'm thinking like rich people drugs. I might see like a celebrity or some agent there that's rehabbing. So I was in there. I walk in. I'm in a cafeteria, and it's not rich people drugs. It's poor people drugs, right? It's like heroin and stuff like that. So I'm like in a crack rehab center banquet telling jokes to people. There was like about 40 people, and I would say that in total there was like 20 teeth.
Oh my goodness.
You know what I'm saying? Like it was like that.
And
right?
Walter was there.
No. Walter was not.
Okay.
So I'm telling these jokes, and these recovering addicts, or you know, these people in rehab, they're dying. They're loving it. You know what I mean? They're, you know, and I was like, oh man, I feel good. Like, you know, I didn't need to get paid for this, right? So then the next gig, I'm like, all right, today is community service day. Walter goes, Danny, this is before. He's like, I want you to come. I have this gig for you. It's for some charity to stop children's hunger in Africa or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
something like.
So he gives me the address. I get to the address and I'm like, Walter, I'm at the address and all I see is a Starbucks. And he goes, yeah, we're right there. So I go to the Starbucks. It's not even inside the Starbucks. It's outside a Starbucks, like underneath a parasol, right? Like a Starbucks umbrella, right? And I'm like, oh, dude. And it's like kind of like in a strip mall, right? And I'm like, oh, man. And I found, it turns out that it is for like middle school kids.
High school. It was high school, yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it's like kids.
You have
And
to connect with kids.
And
then.
I was like, man, what the? What are you doing?
Oh wait, let me
sounds bad.
clarify. Let me clarify
Yeah.
something, or like expound on some knowledge. Comics, for the listening audience, comics do not like performing outdoors. There's something about outdoors; it just does not work. And like I'm sure some of you guys have no comics, and they'll be like, "Oh, I'll do outdoors."
Yeah.
They're idiots.
They're not good.
Yeah. No comic likes doing outdoors and also daytime.
or on buses.
Yeah. This situation that I booked Danny for was not only outdoors, but it was also during the daytime.
I mean,
So it's not the best.
There's more factors in terms of I'm outside a Starbucks. Like, there's people coming in and out, like drinking, getting their coffee, and then there's just like.
Was Walter the host?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was, and there was also musicians, so it was like kind of like a variety thing.
So you were calling people up. Next up is Danny Cho.
Yeah.
the comedian."
And I was like, ooh, man, like, it was the worst gig. I don't even remember if I got any laughs, but it was more like,
What are we doing here?
yeah, why are we here? I can't be filthy in front of kids.
No.
Like, what are we doing here? And that's why every now and again when Walter, he goes, hey, there's this gig, there's a part of my mind that always goes back to that gig. You know what I mean? I go, I don't know if I should trust Walter in this gig. Is it at a comedy club at least? He's like, yeah, it's at a comedy club. Is that 4 walls, bro? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that one was. I actually didn't really fully understand what it was either. It was it was my acupuncturist. It was for his daughter. And so, I mean, like, the benefit for me was that I get free acupuncture. So it's not, and he's a really good acupuncturist. So in the end, I won.
You win.
Yeah. So,
Has Danny paid you back in any way? Have you had a bad show because of Danny? Like the one you did last week in Korean?
no,
Korean.
But he asked for it, though.
Yeah, no, there was one show I think you booked me for. There was like 6 people in the audience. I remember it was me. I think PK was there. Johnny Sanchez. I want to say it was Haha Cafe, but I feel like it
So
wasn't
then there were
Haha
only
Cafe.
2 audience members.
Something like
because
that, yeah.
the 4
No,
of you were the.
But the thing is that it was a free show, and so people, like, they were sitting in the back, and they were all over. And then, like, I think Johnny got the most laughs. But it was just one of those shows where it didn't matter.
And I booked you?
You were booking the show, yeah.
Oh, I remember this.
Was it Haha or was it
No,
somewhere else?
it was a. It's now that club don't exist.
Yeah.
But I remember. God, I forgot the club's name. But it was kind of in the urban area.
Yeah.
The Haha Cafe is in Hollywood.
North Hollywood.
North Hollywood. Yeah.
So it's not really. I can say it's revenge because at least his was a club.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. So Danny's been here about a year now in Korea, and he's been doing stand-up. What do you think about Danny actually leaving? Are you happy he left? Do you get more work now that he's gone?
Well, I don't get more work because we perform, even though we're both regulars at the Laugh Factory,
Yeah.
we perform at different places in the lineup at Laugh Factory. Like, I did more Long Beach.
Oh, yeah.
And I did more, I got, because the way Jamie books is, he has a circle of comics that he books. Mm-hmm. If you're in the rotation, you're fine. If you're not in the rotation, then it's like far and few between.
Right.
I got in the rotation as being a host, so I was hosting a lot. And for a time, I think he wasn't getting booked at the Laugh Factory. He was getting booked at other clubs. Uh-huh. So him coming here, it didn't really affect me.
But
as much.
What do you think of him? Like, do you think he did the right thing for his career for as much as you know?
Yeah,
about it?
I'm actually. I mean, I think Danny and I spoke about this. Like, I'm jealous that he's able to come out here and do it because he's starting from the ground up. Like,
essentially, yeah.
I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. Not he's starting from the ground up, but he's starting at a place where like stand-up comedy is starting from the ground up, and he's able to do it in both English and Korean. There's opportunities here where it's a novel thing, and he's the face of it now. So like let's just say for example, like 3 other Korean American comics come here, and let's just for all intents and purposes they're the same skill level, which they won't be, but let's say they are. He's already entrenched kind of as the go-to guy. So those other 3 comics, they're gonna have a tough time kind of breaking in, because they're gonna be like, well, Danny's here. We're gonna go with Danny. So to me, like that's awesome. Like you can't recreate that elsewhere.
Were you sad that he was leaving?
I mean, we had spoken about it.
He's the reason why actually he gave me the biggest push to come out here. So the story was 2 years ago, Walter and I, we were in Malaysia. We were shooting for Comedy Central Asia for this TV show. And at the time, I was just upset with what was going on back home in terms of work. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, maybe I should go to Korea. But the reason why was because I realized that we both realized that there were so many English-speaking gigs in Asia. Mm-hmm. And then we knew people that stand-up comics in Asia that were making money. Yeah. And we were like, all right, we're better than these fools, right? So I was like, maybe we can make some money out here. Right, and then Walter goes, maybe you should move out here to Asia. And given that I was so like bleh what was going on back home, I was like, maybe you're right. So as soon as I got back from Malaysia, I started looking at visas, and like within 3 months of that trip, I was in Korea.
So Walter planted the seed.
Yeah.
And was that part of your scheme to get him out of
get him out of here.
Get him out of here. And then, but my plans were foiled because Ken Jeong started doing stand-up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So now I'm in a situation, it's like, hey, I want to get booked. Hey, we already had Ken last month. So we're good with Asians.
Are you friends with Ken as well?
Friends is a strong word. Like,
okay.
Because we've hung out a couple times. Like, I went to his show a couple times where he's practicing for his Netflix special.
Okay.
Ken's a great guy, super nice. I mean, you know him.
I don't know him as well as Danny knows him.
Yeah, he's a really nice guy.
Seems to be like one of the nicest people in Hollywood.
Yeah,
right? Yeah. I would not only the nicest, I also think he would be one of the the most honest.
Yeah,
he's not fake about stuff.
No.
You know what I mean? So, man, I love Ken. Ken's one of the nicest people. Yeah. But Ken doing stand up has probably taken.
That takes the most work out of.
I'm gonna fix this mic real quick, but
okay.
It's falling on me. Okay.
Yeah, like Ken doing stand up again, it's great that he's doing it because he gets his Netflix specials and all that. But it's bad for the mid-level Asian comedians because, like I said, clubs will say, "Hey, we just had Ken last week," or like last month. And
so it's kind of like a quota, like an unsaid quota of
that's terrible.
Of like, all right, hey, so but I mean, Hollywood's like that, man. Like Hollywood's
Sure. Yeah.
you know, you try to get into an agency, but we already got like one skinny Asian, one good looking
Yeah.
Asian, and one fat Asian. We're done. You know what I mean? Like they don't need two fat Asians.
Well, you think in Korea it'll ever get to a place where we already have a kyopo on the lineup?
I don't think
we
so.
don't need it.
I don't think so. And I think in Korea the issue is that Korean kyopos don't speak, especially the comedians. They don't speak Korean well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, the comedians.
But I feel like there's an opportunity for a comic in Korea to go the Joe Wang route. You know, make it really simple, but take advantage of the fact that you can't speak Korean well.
Right,
But you can
yeah.
still create material that will fit in 5 to 15 minute sets.
Yeah, I mean that's
and
what I'm
longer.
trying to do right now. I mean, ultimately, like
I heard your Korean's too good now.
Yeah, your Korean's pretty good, dude.
아닌데요.
Yeah.
너 진짜 잘해.
Like you have a your accent before, like you can clearly tell, but then now it's like it's harder to detect the accent.
No, it's still there. I mean, Koreans when they impersonate me, they always kyopo it up.
Of course,
yeah.
yeah.
They'd be like, "Oh, 형, 나 배고픈데요." Like they'll do it that way, and I'd be like, "I don't sound like that." fool."
나는 미국 사람.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is like I watch a lot of Korean dramas, and they'll I don't know why they feel like they need a character that doesn't speak Korean well, and they're horrible at it, and
Yeah.
it's so like 얄미워
Yeah.
listening to it.
What does that mean? 얄미워?
Like it's kind of like
I can guess.
well,
Sorry,
like it's
my bad.
like, no, it's like annoying,
Yeah.
but it's also like it's not only is it annoying, but it makes you not like that person. It's kind of mixed in.
Okay.
You know, there's not really an American phrase for it, and it's just they're just so like I'm like, what are you guys listening to? Like that you can just listen to your cousin that lives in America and copy them. But no, your Korean Danny is getting better. Like it's like. Because when I was watching you stand, I was like, man, like a couple things. I'm like, okay, there's an accent, but
Right.
a lot of the things there isn't.
Well, on top of that, it was just I wanted to show the audience that well, at least I speak better than you. Because you were terrible. So I was like, ooh, all right. Well, comparatively, I
Yeah.
gotta show them like there are kyopos like me that can
That can
kind of
do it.
can converse.
And, on Saturday, I did a lot of like 반말, like yeah and stuff. So that helped a lot.
Right.
I think
Well, Walter, I mean, this is not your first time in Korea. Matter of fact, this is not your first time performing stand-up in Korea.
Yeah,
we maybe 2-3 years ago, we did a small tour in Korea. We did Seoul, we did Busan, we did Daegu, we did Gumi, Pohang. What was your experience with doing stand-up in Korea?
You know what's funny is that we like I think as comedians, like when we're talking about doing stand-up in Korean for Korean audiences, we're like, oh well, they don't know the etiquette. You know, and we concern ourselves with that, and we think, oh, American audiences, they know the etiquette. But when we were doing our tour, it was all American and some European. They had zero etiquette at all.
Yeah.
Like they knew nothing.
Yeah.
Like they would just talk like if let's say Danny's performing, and I'm like, hey Bobby, what do you want to do after the show? Like with that.
So I was
volume.
walking down the street the other day as that's going on.
As
yeah.
he's doing his
Okay.
stuff. And whereas like the Korean audience, they don't do that at all.
Yeah.
I don't
Very
even
respectful.
think I remember them talking to each other.
Right.
And if they do, they're very quiet.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And so my stereotype of the Korean audience was like, oh, they're not gonna really pay attention or whatever because they don't know what to do. But they're actually a lot more attentive than whereas these American audiences in Korea,
Yeah.
they felt like they can do whatever they want.
But also remember, you're the oldest one in the room.
That's
so
true. That's true.
That's probably them
That
being
is true.
respectful.
No.
Can we talk about your age? You're
Oh, I'm 44. I'm
so
44.
1944? like back when you used to sit for oil paintings and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
That was his yearbook picture. Was an oil
It
painting.
was an oil painting. We like your mom and I couldn't have any photos together because your mom couldn't sit still. So like the photos that we have, she's all blurry. You know?
Holy crap, man! Since Walter's been in Korea, the yo mama jokes has in my life has quadrupled.
Yeah, you know, because you can't do mama jokes.
Your mama jokes. That's from like the 50s, straight up. Like,
You can't do it now to young people because they're like, they don't understand.
Yeah.
They're like, wait,
Yeah.
do you know my mom?
Yeah.
And like, I think they're serious because they think I know their mom. But no.
But at your age, yeah.
Yeah, I might.
You
I might know.
Do Koreans have those kinds of jokes? They're like knock jokes, something that's equivalent for that.
Well, they have something called 아재 개그, which is like dad jokes. But dad jokes are completely different than like your mama jokes.
It's not
or
the
like,
same.
Yeah. Or
Maybe they'll have those. There's this phrase that people keep calling me, konde.
konde.
Yeah.
Yes. That's not a good thing.
It's
to
not
be
a good
called,
thing?
To be called konde.
But it's like maybe that's. But they always make fun of me for saying something.
Yeah.
And so, is that like a genre of jokes?
No.
No?
Konde is more like you know those people that say stuff like, oh, you know, back in my day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or you're giving advice even when it's not
Being
asked
asked for.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Like that's like konde means like that kind of older person, right?
I gotta stop giving advice to people.
It's like
Maybe
if I
that's
say
the
to you,
thing.
Bobby, hey, instead of guitar, have you tried a ukulele? And then,
you should make more YouTube tracks like that with the ukulele.
Have you tried cover songs on
yeah.
YouTube? Have you tried playing drums with your feet while you're playing the ukulele? Because then that would be amazing.
You know, you bring up an interesting thing. Like when I first moved to Korea and I started playing to Korean audiences, they're very quiet, very attentive. I started out in New York in like open mics and like even when I had my own shows, people would talk. I'd have to sing above them.
Yeah.
There's a bar, people are chattering and stuff. I'm used to that.
Yeah.
I don't mind that. But when I got here and it was like super quiet, I didn't know how to, handle it.
For like
It's so weird.
Because singers, I think you guys are out of performers. You guys are the most used to people talking during the show.
Yeah.
Because people talk all the time. For comics, it really screws with us.
Yeah. You guys, but it's also an opportunity, right? Because you get that crowd work or you.
Yes and no. For the ones that do crowd work, it is an opportunity. For the most comics don't do crowd work because they can't. I hate to say it, they can't. It's just they're just not equipped or trained to kind of like deal with that because
it's about their joke and maybe they're not as witty.
Yeah,
on the,
and plus if you start out doing crowd work and you can't finish it, then the rest of your set's done.
Yeah,
like
that
you're
makes
just
sense.
done.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of fear involved with that.
I don't do crowd work. I mean, I'll do it if I get heckled, and then but see, my mentality is not a good mentality to have. Is like, oh, you think I'm gonna die alone? No, we're all gonna die together, and I will ruin everybody's night.
Yeah,
and be mean, right? And so that's my problem. But I think the issue with like. With the especially with YouTube, here I'm going to do some Conde stuff, but like because of YouTube, back in my day when there was no YouTube, like people would put up like video of like check out this comedian attacking or handling a heckler, right? And that becomes a viral thing.
Yeah.
And so now everybody that doesn't really know what stand up is thinks that every comedian should be able to handle hecklers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Which isn't the case at all.
Yeah, or like, oh, you're
see.
a comedian, you should be able to roast.
Yeah.
Because that's a new thing, like the roast battles, right? Or you're a comedian. So to me, the segue is, and I hate all of that kind of advice of they think, what are you? You're a doctor. You don't have any idea what I do. You've never stepped foot on stage to tell jokes, right?
Yeah.
But
that reminds me of a Mitch Hedberg joke. He talks about, him something like, "Can you farm?" Like if asking a chef, just because they're in the food business, can you like? I'm not a stand-up,
Hey, maybe if you sung it,
I should make a song out of it.
No, but Walter, what are some things? How do you deal with people? Because especially comedians, I feel like, or entertainers in general, you get unwarranted advice from people. Like, hey, maybe you should do this, or maybe you should do a political joke.
Yeah.
Or remember that? I think you told me yesterday about you did something where some guy was like, "Oh, you should do more Korean jokes."
More Korean jokes. So that guy happened to be a friend of my friend's. So I usually just let it go. I don't say anything because I don't want out of respect for my friend. I don't want to cause any strife. But if it's just some random person coming up to me saying stuff, depending on how much I want to get engaged in conversation, like if I'm tired, I don't answer. But if I'm like, okay, you know what, let's do this, I'll ask them, like, what do you do? And then they'll say something like, I don't know, let's say they're a masseuse.
I'm a plumber.
Okay, I'm a plumber. And then I say, oh, well, have you tried Plex plumbing? Like, do you work with Plex piping, or do you just do copper? You know? And then he might be shocked that I know what that is, but then he'll probably be like, well, what do you know about it?
Yeah.
You know, he get all upset. I go, then why are you telling me what to do, you know, or how to do it when you know what you're good at? You know?
No, but people tell me I'm funny though.
Like,
People tell me I'm funny. I'm in role play mode now. Like,
yeah,
but people tell me I'm funny,
and then I'll say, well, compared to me, you're not. I'm straight out. Like I'm straight about that. Like I've had people come up to me and say, you know what, I'm funnier than you, and I bet I could, if I did stand-up comedy, I'd be better than you, but I can't stand in front of people. I said, well, then you're not funnier, because one of the main things
they'll give you advice. Well, they'll give you not advice. They'll give you suggestions based. They're projecting what they think is funny.
Yeah.
Right. And so they do that to me too about music.
Yeah.
One guy once told me, you know what would be great? If you started doing R&B. That's where it's at, man. I was just like...
Imagine Bobby just doing the vocal gymnastics like Brian McKnight and just be like, ooh.
And I was like, wait, you're a plumber?
Yeah.
Do you know anything about copper plumbing?
Yeah. It's just so...
I should have said that.
Yeah. It's one of those situations where, for me, it's like... And I think... Because I thought about it a lot. I think it's because... just about everyone in their life has made at least one person laugh. Whether because they planned it out or through dumb luck, they made someone laugh. So that warrants everyone being able to give advice about laughing, like how to make people laugh, you know?
That's like telling me, like, oh, I've sung at a norebang.
Yeah.
So you should listen to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, hey, have you thought about like putting the echo up? you know, like... And then I swear to God, you need to incorporate a tambourine somehow, because the tambourines really add to like the energy. Like
I'm great at the tambourine. Yeah. Oh man.
And so to me, I think it's because laughter is such a basic necessity in our lives, and we're exposed to it so much. People automatically assume, hey, I know what's funny. Like, and it's like, okay, you know what's funny in your life, but when you compare it to a professional, it's not the same. And I don't think they view professional comedians as like a professional, quote unquote. Like we have all played basketball. We've all shot a free throw and made a 3-pointer and a layup. What gives us the right to, if we see like the 12th guy on the bench of an NBA team, what gives us the right to tell him, hey, yo, I think I've been watching your dribble. You got to try dribbling between your legs. Like if you try dribbling between your legs, you'll get more playing time, dude. Like what gives us the right to do that? The entitlement. We don't, because then people say, no, but they're professionals. What do you think we are? Like, it's a completely different bag. Like,
I don't like that you put us at the 12th. I would consider myself like
I was being humble. I was being humble about
maybe,
it.
You know what I mean?
I was gonna say LeBron, but I didn't want to sound
I'm
like
second off the bench.
You know? But yeah, I think it's like people think like, oh, you're just a comedian, so you need the advice, and I can advise you because I'm a plumber.
Well, this is kind of related, but the thing that I hate the most when people find out like that you're a comedian is tell me a joke or make me laugh.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that situation?
I usually laugh it off. If it's a girl and she's pretty and it seems like she likes to make bad decisions, I'll just say, you know, stick around with me for a little bit. You know,
I'll make you laugh.
Yeah, I'll make you laugh.
Yeah.
But like, you know, I don't do jokes.
Do Koreans do that to you? Like when you tell them you're a 개그맨?
No,
like
not. But that's the thing is that since they don't know what stand-up is, they think of comedians and gag men as like there's a variety of different things. Like,
I wonder if Korean comedians, they get some sort of equivalent question.
Well, I don't know in person. I think people do get that.
Make me laugh.
Yeah. But I think just culturally, for example, like this past weekend, I shot this new variety show. Mm-hmm. Right. By the way, big shout outs to all people in the variety show world, because like I thought it was just fun and games, but I was on set for 20 hours, man.
Jeez,
like, that was crazy, right? but then they make you go, all right, okay, you're a comedian. All comedians are funny and they have different skills. Do you have like a hidden talent? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so they make you do stuff. You know what I mean? Beyond just, beyond what it is. And that's just on TV even, right? So, but like, you don't, in American shows, you don't be like, hey, so like, we're not going to tell you to tell a joke. You know what I mean? You're just funny. We'll set you up a little bit, but we won't be like, all right, hey, tell me a good joke.
Yeah.
But in these types of formats, it's almost like that. We're like, hey, do something that's going to make us laugh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think just culturally, it's a little different anyway.
How do you say stand-up comedian in Korean? Like, what do you say when someone says, what kind of, like, what do you do?
Stand-up comedian.
Oh, but like for Korean.
Stand-up comedian.
Oh, but do they understand what that is?
Not all of them. You know what I mean?
Because I've been saying standing 개그맨.
That's how the old people have kind of bastardized the word stand-up comedian.
Okay.
But, yeah. But, you know, we get it. You're old, so.
Well, no, because I thought gag man, but then Bobby's mom said, oh, you should add standing. So then I thought, okay.
I think that's number 7. We're going to wrap it up soon, but Walter, I want to know, like, what is your ultimate goal with this? For stand-up.
Stand-up in Korea or stand-up in my life?
In your life.
Well, okay, this is going to sound very, like, spiritual. But, like, for me, like, I like doing stand-up, or I love doing stand-up because I enjoy making people laugh. So if I could, like, for the rest of my life be able to have a forum, a stage where I can make people laugh, then I'm good. Like, would I love to make $1 million a year? Yeah. But if I don't, like, I'm okay. As long as I have a stage to perform at, I'm getting booked at places.
But you're doing that now, right?
Doing that now, yeah. But I mean, I think because I'm still, like, relatively, like, not old.
I was gonna say you don't have much time left.
I know.
So,
well, you know what? That's true. But what you probably don't know, Bobby, is that for stand-ups, our shelf life is pretty small. Like,
is it really?
You don't see a lot of gray-haired comedians working. Like
working hard.
Yeah, if you go to a club, you might see like an older comedian. Yeah. But in terms of like, hey, such and such comedian is going to be performing, very, very far and few between.
Unless you're famous.
Yeah, unless you're famous.
Yeah.
So like around 50, 55, your shelf it's pretty downhill after that, unless you're really famous, because obviously the people get younger, the audience gets younger and younger. Yeah. And then as soon as they see you, you might be funny, but they immediately go, I can't relate to this guy.
So what you're saying is that you're on the downhill of your
almost, yeah. I'm at the
no one's relating with you.
What's the part right before twilight, like the late afternoon? I'm at like the late afternoon. Yeah. So like if I don't get famous by like 50, 55, then it's like it's tough.
I'm sorry. I'm like ragging on you.
Oh no, you don't
so
do
much.
Sorry, dude.
I'm trying to use a word that you might understand. But usually it's because I'm the oldest in the room. Because Danny's like, you know, like he won't call me young, although he should. I should probably call you young. Wait, so I'm a hypocrite.
Because you're how old?
Or I could call you Samchun or something like that.
No, because I know you're only like a little bit younger than me.
Yeah, I'm not that much.
Yeah, because I mean, your mom had you when she was what, 11? I think.
Holy crap. I love these your mom jokes. You know what? To wrap it up, I'm actually curious, Walter. You've been here a handful of times in Korea. Mm-hmm. What are some things you keeps you coming back? Like, what do you love about Korea?
The irony is that I've been rejected here too many times to count.
You mean by women?
Yeah.
Yes.
But I love the people here. You know, I know it sounds like counterintuitive.
But you're Korean. You know, you got Korean blood.
Yeah, it's great. You know what? It's great. I don't know if I'm going to convey this correctly, but what's great here is that, like, where I live, there's a lot of Korean people, obviously. But I don't see all the age range of Korean people because it's just like there's not that enough people. But here, the age range is so vast. So, like, I see, like, it's nice seeing, like, older people that are, like, super old. And, like, you know, they're about to, like, their bodies are deteriorating. It's nice to be able to see that because it's like, you know, and obviously it goes without saying everyone here is Korean, or just about everyone's Korean. But it's just nice to just sit, like, on the subway or, like, at a table somewhere and just to see all the, like, people watch. And, like, there's so many different types of people, like the way they look, the way they dress, and just, everyone's Korean, and it's just really nice. And the eating and drinking isn't half bad either.
Yeah, we've met up quite a few times.
Yeah.
Been doing the makgeolli thing.
Yeah.
A lot,
No, like makgeolli is the way.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's like, I think 20 times better than soju.
Well, it tastes better here too.
Tastes better,
Right.
but it also doesn't bring the devil out, the inner devil. Like, I think soju brings out.
Yeah, different liquors do different things to me. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
tequila is like only for when we're gonna have fun.
Right, I can't touch tequila.
I only do it if like I know like the girl and I like we're gonna have fun.
Okay.
Like I don't mean like sexual fun.
Yeah.
That's the hope. But like just for fun,
Wait, time out. Isn't any booze kind of that hope?
Any booze is that hope, but like
Yeah.
tequila is like it's like okay. This is serious business.
Did you just say "woke"? Is that a new word?
Yeah.
Is that a new word, or is that before our time?
I'm trying to use the Korean thing of combining words
sorry.
together.
Woke. That's actually a cool name.
Yeah,
Cool.
woke.
Yeah.
Cool phrase. Woke.
Well, Walter, thanks for being a guest on our show. Do you have anything?
Thank you for having me.
Anything to plug to tell the listeners?
For those of you that came to our show at Spazio Luce, thank you for coming. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope PK, Danny, and I did well. For those of you that are gonna go to the States, look me up, Walter Hong. I'm on Facebook, Instagram.
You're not Walter Hong on Instagram.
If you can type my name, it'll come out. But
yeah.
my handle, I don't know if I can say it here.
Yeah, you can.
Okay. My handle's Yellow Sheki.
That's right. It is.
So
Do you have to explain that to your non-Korean friends what that is? What?
some ask.
Yeah.
Some just think it's probably like just whatever.
Yeah.
But like it's the Korean ones that like they get it.
Yeah,
And I created that for the Korean people.
Right.
Right.
It's not for like white people to kind of like, oh, hey, like pontificate upon.
What is Sheki?
Yeah.
What is that there, yellow Sheki?
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for listening. If you have any questions or comments, please email us at peninsulapod@gmail.com. And as always, tell your friends to listen to the When in Seoul podcast.
Thanks for being here, Walter.
Thank you for having me.
I really wanna go somewhere today.